Now, continuing its series on briefings on how it will implement the 6 priority commitments as contained in its manifesto, the ANC today outlined how it seeks to address the challenge of the high cost of living. The engagement comes a day after the party revealed its plans on how it will also try and foster job creation. Our reporter Juniour Khumalo, who was at the briefing, now joins us in studio. Juniour, a very good afternoon to you. Realistically, looking at this matter, like a bird's eye view really, the ANC seeking to tackle the challenge of the high cost of living, given the problem that has now resulted in a worsening situation with the party at the helm for the past 30 years. I mean, where are the solutions?
Indeed. I think today the briefing that we had with the Social Transformation Subcommittee of the ANC's NEC led by Newzroom, it seemed like they were trying to give us more details around how they are going to do this. Mr. Mkhize spoke about how they are going to use the indigent program that was implemented in 2001, where local governments were tasked with identifying individuals that can't pay for basic services such as electricity, such as water, so that would be expanded and ensure that South Africans that are struggling to pay for such basic services are also included into that indigent program.
Yeah.
They also spoke about the fuel levy. They said that the Minister of Finance has already agreed to not increase the fuel levy for this year to ensure that South Africans don't struggle in terms of the amount they pay, whether it be for fuel, as well as we know that when the fuel prices go up, transportation also goes up, the food prices also go up. So they're trying to make sure that by not increasing the fuel levy, then South Africans don't also have to bear the burden of also trying to pay for higher prices of transportation and food prices.
Yeah. One buffer that the ANC-led government has managed to secure well in place is really the significant social grant system. Does this continue under the governing party?
Indeed. Mkhize spoke about how when the ANC took over in 1994, only 2 million South Africans were basically taken care of by this social grant program. But now over 20 million South Africans are actually benefiting from the social grant program. So this is definitely going to continue, in particular the 350 social grant distress amount that was introduced during the COVID-19 pandemic to assist South Africans who had actually lost their jobs. This is definitely going to continue. And Lindiwe Zulu, who also serves as the Minister of Social Development, was also there at the press briefing. And she was speaking about the governing party discussing with government how to change this amount from just being a 350 social distress grant to actually being a basic income grant. She says policies are actually already in place. And let's just take a listen to what she had to say about this.
So we will continue paying the 350 as was also indicated by the Minister of Finance when he made his presentation. But with regard to the basic income grant, we've gone so far as putting together the policy proposals, which also include options in terms of funding and on what would that be. We have not concluded that aspect. And that once we have done with that, we will have to bring it back to the African National Congress, both to the Committee on Social Transformation, but also to the Committee on Economic Transformation, because the two have to speak to each other. With regard to the sustainability of the social grants, I want to say to you, the African National Congress have sustained the grants since 1994. When we took over power, there were times when the economy was not necessarily doing very well. But one thing the African National Congress was very clear about is that you cannot expose our people consistently to vulnerability and not respond to that. And so for those who are saying it's unsustainable, look at the entire history from the time that we decided to expand social grants broadly, not only social grants for the elderly as it was before. We extended the grants both for the elderly, to people with disabilities, to child support grant, and the bulk of our grants actually goes to child support grant.
Right, so Lindy Zulu, they're just talking about the sustainability of social grants and how it's happened over the past few years. But it's one thing to talk about the significant proposals and talk about these challenges on how to tackle the high cost of living, but it all boils down to implementation.
Indeed, it does. Implementation and where the money is going to come from to actually implement all of these promises that government made. Because when the finance minister delivered the budget, he did talk about some of the constraints that the fiscus is experiencing. So one thing that the ANC has actually proposed is to revitalize the industrial system of the country, as well as implement and putting in place actually individuals that are capable and competent. So we had the president during the manifesto launch speaking about a rigorous interviewing processes and just looking at the backgrounds of these individuals that are going to be put in place to make sure that they are the right caliber of people to actually take South Africa forward and make sure that this high cost of living is dealt with.
Yeah, very well. Juniour Khumalo, thank you so much for that. In fact, we will be expanding on high caliber individuals as we talk a little bit about ethics